Did you know that not every customer is a good customer? In fact, there are some customers that are absolute nightmares. Well, in today's video, I want to walk you through how to spot red flag customers before you do a deal, before you get stuck with a nightmare customer. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Vaught, and I'm so glad that you're here. And I want to help you in today's video identify red flag customers before you get in too deep. And even if you don't figure it out on the front end, how do you handle them if you get stuck with them as a customer? And so let me just tell you, I have a lot of experience dealing with bad customers, unfortunately, because there's always this tension of we need sales, and I've got this gut feeling that this is a bad customer. I've spent too many times, and I've learned to not do this anymore, but I've spent too many times saying, well, we'll make it work, right? And I go against my gut feeling. I'll take on a job, I'll start working with a client, and it always, if I think they're gonna be a nightmare customer, I'm usually right. But I say that to say I have a lot of experience with dealing with bad customers, and I have a lot of things that I've developed over the years to help ease the pain, so to speak. And so I want to spend the first part of this video talking about prevention, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's a great quote, and it's so true. If we can prevent it on the front end and never get into some type of contractual agreement with a pain in the butt customer, it's going to save you so much time and energy, and it's going to actually be save you not just time and energy, but also peace of mind. The hardest part about having bad customers is it just causes a ton of anxiety. If you care about your business and your business's reputation and you care about doing a good job, but there's people out there that you just can't please no matter how good of a job that you do, if you can identify them before you ever get in a relationship with them, it's going to save you so much anxiety. That's the one thing I would tell you, right? So when it comes to spotting red flag customers before the sale, I want to give you 5 things that are kind of telltale signs that this customer might be a red flag customer, a pain in the butt customer. They might just be a crazy individual, right? I laugh about this, but I call it the 1 in 20 rule or the 5% rule. 1 in 20 of your clients are going to be crazy. I've almost developed this hypothesis where I'm convinced 1 out of 20 people in society are just crazy. They just see the world through a broken lens and through a broken worldview on like how we talk to people and what our expectations are. People are crazy, okay? So I'm gonna give you 5 things to look for. If you're feeling like you might have a potential customer that might be a nightmare customer, here's what to look for. Number 1, are they right out of the gate like shocked by the price and like constantly pushing you for discounts? Constantly trying to work you down on the price. What that means is if you do sell them, they're going to feel like they overextended themselves financially. And what that typically means is that they're going to have buyer's remorse, which means that they're going to be super hypercritical of the process. They're going to be hypercritical of the product. They're going to be hypercritical of what you do and you don't do. And so I've found this a lot, like when I'm selling like super expensive furniture, for example, like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 tables. I can't tell you how many people that I've worked with that had like normal average salaries that really, this was like a splurge buy for them. And they told me that, but then when it came time for delivery and came time for the product, they were like incredibly nitpicky to the point where I was like fired up and excited about the product. They were like, oh no, this isn't up to our standards, right? And so if they're super discount chasing, price shock, if that's kind of how they initially interact with you, but they want to keep working a deal and keep getting you down, like you may just say, hey, I don't think it's going to work, okay? Number 2 is if they are vague or they constantly are changing what they want. What ends up happening is that you end up going back and forth with this customer 30, 40, 50 times. It's like the old telephone game where you start with a story and tell it to one person, and they tell it to another person, they tell it to another person. And how different is the story when it gets to the end versus the original story that was told? Well, it's the same way with you communicating with a client that wants to change things 50 times. You might get to the end and what you think you've decided is not what that person has actually decided, right? So one of the things I'll just tell you is that you can work with these customers sometimes, but generally speaking, it's going to be a nightmare. My fail-safe is that we always confirm the order and every single detail of the order before we start working on it, right? So that's going to be kind of the fail-safe in a situation like this. But I'll know it when I see it type thing. Well, I don't really know. Send me some inspiration. Oh, I like this. I like that. But it goes on for a long period of time. Obviously, when they're trying to figure out what they want, not really that big of a deal. Everybody has to go through that. But if it's taking them weeks or months to figure out what they want, you may just fade away into the background. All right, woodworkers, I've got a challenge for you. It's called the 5K in 30-Day Challenge. Join the Woodworking Business Accelerator program follow exactly what we teach you to do, implement the systems, the processes, the sales scripts, and if you close $5,000 in new custom furniture sales in your first 30 days, we're gonna give you your program fee back. That's right. You will have literally built a business growth system for free. So why would I do this? Well, because I would rather actually put my money where my mouth is and win only if you win than just asking you that you should just simply trust me. So if you're ready to build a business that funds your life and not just your hobby, this is your chance to build it without any risk. Check it out, link in the description below. With that, let's get back to the video. Number 3, this one is so important, is if they show a lack of respect for your time. Customers that treat you like servants, they never end up being good customers. One thing that I look for hanging out with people is I look for how do they treat our server at our restaurant. People that treat servers at restaurants poorly, I don't like being around them. Because at the end of the day, that person that's serving me is still a person, right? They're not a slave. They're not my servant. They're still a person. And so I'm going to show a level of respect to that person. And I don't care who they are. But that's so true about your clients too. If they don't honor or respect your time, they're texting you late at night or early in the morning and get back to me. You're slow to get back to, and like they expect you to be on call all the time. It's not going to happen. Hey, I have a family. I have responsibilities outside of my job, outside of my business, and I'll get back to you within business hours. And one thing that I've learned is that with people that don't respect boundaries, the number one thing that you have to do is you have to enforce boundaries and see how they respond. And if they kick back, just cut it loose right there. But if they'll conform to your standards and your boundaries, you can work with them. Some people just don't understand it or aren't aware. But by setting boundaries and by laying down the foundation of when I'm on call and when I'm not, and seeing how they respond to that, you're going to get a good idea if this is going to be a nightmare customer or not. Number 4, and this one might be the most important one at the end of the day, is that you got to trust your gut. Like if you have a gut feeling or you have weird energy about a customer, you're probably right. I hate to tell you that, but if you have a gut feeling like, I don't think this is going to go good, I don't think there's any way that I'm going to be able to please this person, you probably just need to not try. I've spent so many years trying to please unpleasable people, and I have learned that you just can't. It's just not even worth your time, right? And like, for example, I'll get hate comments on some of these videos demanding proof that I am who that I say that I am and demanding that I show them bank stubs or whatever. But I've learned even if you show that, and I actually have done this, I've like actually sent bank statements to haters before showing like, this is how much money came into the account this month, just like I was talking about, so on and so forth. And it's still not good enough. Haters are going to be haters. And so I just stop engaging with them. I've learned over time that people that are going to be haters, people are going to be pains in the butt, people are going to be terrible customers. They're just going to be terrible customers and you can't change them. Quit trying to please unpleasable people, okay? That's number 4. And then number 5 is that if they are bad-mouthing previous makers. Oh yeah, I worked with so-and-so and he did a terrible job. And this contractor did a terrible job and this person did a terrible job. It's never them. It's always everybody else's fault. This is a massive red flag alert. That's not to say that sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it does happen, but between these 5 things, you should be able to kind of piece together what you're working with and whether you got a customer that you can maybe help or one that you probably need to steer away from. Okay, now, what to do if you've already said yes? Taken on a customer and it turns out they were the crazy customer. They were the 1 out of 20. Well, here's 5 things to do. Number 1 is over communicate and document everything. Everything needs to be documented. Everything needs to be written down, and you need to communicate to the point that is annoying. This is going to prevent miscommunication or them trying to hold your feet to the fire over something that you never said or never meant to say. Number 2 is that you need to stick to the contract. One of the biggest problems with nightmare customers is they constantly want revisions and they don't want to pay for them. And so the contract needs to say, this is what we're doing, this is the price you're paying, and any revisions are going to come with additional fees. And when it comes to that, hey, happy to do that, Mrs. Customer. Just so you know, here's the cost and the timeline for that change, which they're not going to like that. But that needs to be established on the front end, right? Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, okay? Number 3 is control the delivery. Don't let them dictate how and when things are done. Like one thing that we never did is like we'd have people that like, I want to come in the shop and I want to see it like before you stain it. I want to see it after you stain it. I want to see it before you put finish. We're not doing that. We don't let our clients in the shop for hazard and insurance reasons. You're not allowed in the shop during manufacturing hours. You're going to run your business how you run it, and you need to make sure that they understand that. They don't get to control when and how you do things, okay? Control the delivery. Deliver professionally, but firmly. You run the project, not them. Number 4 is that you need to end it gracefully if needed. If you get to the point where you're like, it is not going to be a possibility for me to please this person, I'm coming to terms with this, hey, Mrs. Customer, based on kind of where we're at with this project, I think it's best if we just part ways. I'll get you a refund for any deposit that you put down and we'll part ways. I don't think that it's going to be in my best interest or your best interest if we continue this relationship. I'm so sorry if you don't understand, but this is a definitive call and we're not going to move forward. Right. And I've done that. I have fired clients before that had unreasonable requests or that were wanting us to do something that we knew we couldn't do to the standard that we had. Right. So there was a customer that I had that was wanting this certain kind of stain on these chairs. Well, we took the order because my salesperson didn't know that we really couldn't do it, that kind of stain on those chairs. The stain was a very complex, like 3-4 step process. We just can't get the blend and the look that we want on chairs as opposed to, say, a tabletop. Well, we came back later and was like, ma'am, I'm so sorry. We're actually not going to be able to do these chairs like we originally thought. And she was furious with us because we couldn't do it. But it was like, hey, I can either give you a really crappy product and then have to go back and order you new chairs and try it all over again. But I'm telling you right now, we can't deliver it. We can't give you the standard that you're paying for, right? And so it's better just to cut your losses as opposed to trying. And then the last one here is learn the lesson. Number 5 is learn the lesson. If you are dealing with terrible clients over and over and over again, and you're not learning anything along the way, you're not creating systems to protect you along the way, you're not getting, like, we created a cosmetic standards page. This is what a good product is. This is what a bad product is. If you're expecting this, you don't need to order from us. If you don't appreciate variations from natural wood products, you do not need to be placing an order with us because we're using real wood. You're going to have some knot holes. You're going to have variations or waves in the table. You're going to have some things here or there that is a part of what we actually love about the process of handmade furniture. And so if you don't and you want this like perfect piece, that's not really what we do. What we consider a good product is that it has a little bit of character. But that's different for everybody, and you need to determine what a good product is for you. And so one bad client can cost you more profit and revenue and headache than 10 good ones, okay? So as we wrap this video up, just be super mindful as you're starting and scaling your business to have a plan in place for identifying red flag customers. And then also, if you get stuck with a red flag customer, how to structure it so that you protect yourself and get the product delivered and get out of town. Get the heck out of Dodge, right? With that, protect your peace, protect your profit, and make good decisions when it comes to red flag customers. If you need any other help, you have questions about this, you have stories about nightmare customers, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I've got some resources in the description as well. Free ebook, entry-level beginner program that's going to help you if you're really needing some business principles out of the gate. And then lastly, if you're looking to scale your custom furniture business to the next level inside of the Woodworking Business Accelerator program, we're doing that every single day with tons of guys all across the US and Canada. And so be sure to check that out. But with that, love you. I'll see you on the next video.